is the Next Level Loan Officers podcast. To learn more about Next Level Loan Officers, go to becomenl.com.
Hey everyone, this is Fraser with Rebel IQ, and we are proud to present this episode of the Next Level Loan Officers podcast. We invite you to join the evolution in the housing industry for marketing at rebeliq.com. Now let's get into the episode.
Well, welcome back to another podcast here at Next Level Loan Officers. I'm Kellen Vaughn, coach and founder of Next Level, and joined in the Loan Officer Success World Headquarters, my good friend, fellow coach, and co-founder, Mr. Sean Z. What's up, Sean?
What up? How are you doing this morning?
Oh, I'm doing fantastic. You know, we are here just to help LOs grow their business and survive and thrive in these this wild times that we're in, man. It's the dawn of a new era, I believe.
It is. We have a really cool topic that we're going to discuss today. And in addition, there is nothing more important than investing in yourself and in your business right now. Like the investment that you make, the time that you put in to honing your craft and making yourself as perfect as possible today is going to have 5 or 10x the rewards that it did in 20 and 21, because there's just business just isn't that easy. And so the investment you make in yourself today, the investment you're making listening to this podcast, when you put these things to use, are going to be greater than probably at any other point in your career.
I believe that, man. You know, we talk to loan officers, and we coach loan officers all the time. And a lot of them, I feel like they kind of wake up one day and they just kind of ask themselves, how did I get here? Right? How did I get to this point where I don't have any loans in my pipeline? I'm questioning whether I should be in this business. Like, how did I get here? And my first answer is always, well, like, what were you doing 60 days ago, right? What were you doing 30 days ago, 90 days ago? Like, let's look back, because the mortgage industry, as wild as it is fairly simple. The things you do today will impact and drive the business that you have 30 days from now, 60 days from now, and 90 days from now. And that's a great point, and a little bit of a segue into not only our topic, Sean, but we've got an event coming up April 27th in the Dallas-Fort Worth area.
Oh, yeah.
And if you feel like, if you're listening to this podcast and you're like, uh-oh, I don't know that I've been doing the things that I've needed to do over the last 30 days, 60 days, 90 days. I need to step up my game so that my future self will thank me. Coming to our either live event, or if you're in our group, our meetup on the 27th is a great place to start. And we can definitely put some things in place that can alter your trajectory very quickly. So check that out. Go over to becomenl.com. All of our information is there. You can hit us up, find out more information about the event. We'd love to see you there. One of the things that we're going to be talking about, Sean, is a subject that we're going to chat about today. And this is really, you know, speaking of dynamically changing the game, right? I mean, this is wild. This is really wild. So we're going to be talking a little bit about AI, about ChatGPT today. And listen, you're talking to two guys who don't pretend to be experts in this field at all. I'm not sure anybody is an expert in this field just yet. This is new, cutting edge stuff, but we're just going to kind of talk about some ways that we see it could drive your business, improve efficiencies, and do some really, cool stuff. And we're going to be talking about this in our meeting on the 27th again. So April 27th, if you're in the Dallas-Fort Worth area or you want to travel down and hang out with us, we've got the one and only Jason Frazier who's going to be breaking this down. But Sean, you're actually leveraging this new information and teaching classes to realtors about this content. Is that correct?
I am. And, like you were talking about like the mortgage business just being kind of, it's a hard simple, but it's simple. And, like ChatGPT is more like rocket science. Although it can be simple to use. I talk about this analogy a lot in the mortgage industry, and talk about it not being rocket science. You're talking about the activities you do 60 days ago And then you see the results today. You talk to somebody, it's like, well, how many sales calls are you making this week? It's like, one. Like, cool. Well, you expect to not have any business 60 days from now. And, if the mortgage industry was rocket science, or if rocket science was as easy as the mortgage industry, we would live in a different world right now, because one of the reasons that the Allies actually advanced out of England and across the pond to get to European mainland is because when the Germans were firing rockets at them, they didn't understand rocket science. They didn't adjust for wind and shear and all the other things that I have no clue about in order to make that happen. If our industry was that complicated, man, you'd need a PhD to do it. And we probably wouldn't have the ability to make as much money either, because it'd just be too complicated. Right. So when you look at ChatGPT, I mean, the basis of, like, this is a great tool. I use it to assist, not to write, but to assist in my emails. I use it to think of ideas to write articles for my blog post. I use it to get ideas and follow up for CRM. I will write a lot of content, and then I will put it inside of ChatGPT, and then I will pull it back out and then edit it, re-edit it back to making sure that it's in my language. But first and foremost, there's a couple things that you've got to really, really be aware of when you use it. And once you start using it, like, you'll start to see people send emails. You're going to start to notice Facebook posts, and you're gonna be like, oh, dude, they're using ChatGPT, and they're using it terribly. Like, if you just go and be like, hey, make this sound better, ChatGPT has one way, and it's relatively formal in what it does to make things sound better. And so it's always like, ma'am, sir, in regards of, and like, all of a sudden you are having a conversation with somebody via email, and then you get this email back, and it's like, yeah, it's this person. It's not the person I was just talking to.
Well, and I'll tell you too, I just want to interject real quick. Yeah. I know we're going to get into some of the meat of this, and I'm excited for that. But, I haven't even, like, scratched the surface on this thing. I'm not sure anybody really has, but I definitely haven't. But I'll tell you what I've used it for so far. And this goes into exactly what you're going to say, right? It's like, I think back to those days in college, and you had to write a paper. And there was nothing worse than that, like, blank word screen just staring at you, right? You just didn't know where to start. And so I'll give you a modern day example of this. I do some work in our homeowners association, and I had to write an email to every homeowner, right, about increasing dues. And anyway, so I was like, man, I don't really know how to start this letter. I'm not really sure I do. I went to ChatGPT. Hey, write me an email to my homeowners association talking about increasing dues, right? And to your point, it spit out this, 4-paragraph long thing. Now, I took that and reworded it to make it sound like I would sound, but it cracked that, like, that moment of, I don't know how to start this, right? And so, just at its basic level, I think, to your point, sending an email, writing a blog post, those kinds of things, not to replace it, but just to kind of jumpstart the thought process.
Yeah, it gave you some pretty good ideas too, didn't it, Kellen?
It did. Yeah. No, it definitely, like, I mean, I would say just in that email, I kept probably 50% of the structure and what it said, and just kind of filled in. But it was very specific. I mean, I told it, like, we're going from this number to this number, and here's why. And it crafted the entire thing, and definitely gave me a full template for what to write.
Yeah, I recently used it to send an email to one of my boys' teachers and the principal of the school, because this year, for one reason or another, said teacher and us parents haven't really been on the same page, and it's been a little bit frustrating. And I just wanted to make sure that that everything was good. So I wrote out the email and, I put it in there and it tweaked a few things and then I modified it again too. And it definitely was, it made the email better in what I do and made me, but I was able to still make it sound like me. So first thing first, if you just tell it, make this better or write this email or like all it's going to do, it's going to talk like you have a way that you talk. Kellen has a way that he talks. We all know Ken has a way that he talks.
No boy.
And it ain't going to sound like any of that. It's going to sound the way that it talks. So you have to give it clear instructions. So do you want it to be formal? Do you want it to be relaxed? Do you want it to be in the same format that you have? There's all the different prompts that you can really put inside to use it. One of the cool things that I like when I'm showing agents how to use it, and it's really basic. When I show agents, I only show them 3 or 4 things. I show them how to prompt. I show them a cut and paste, which I'll share with you guys. Mm-hmm. And then I show them how they can do some fun things with it. Because you just don't have to be that much further ahead. And you need people to really understand the basics of it. So one of the things that I like to do is I'll pull up an agent's listing presentation, not listing presentation, listing description. And so we'll cut and paste that and we'll put it in there and it'll sound better. But then I'll say, hey, say this like a pirate would say it. and it'll be like, our matey, come see this house at, well, yada, 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 whatever. And, or you can do it to like, the beat of a song or like any kind of thing inside of it. And then you can have some real, like an agent obviously wouldn't put a listing like a pirate or to the beat of a song in the MLS description, but they could use it for some cool marketing or a good Facebook or Instagram post. And so that's why I like to show them those things. The biggest thing though is like, y'all go play with it. You can do the free account, you can do the paid account, whatever works for you. And, but go play with it and then copy and paste that email into a Word doc, or not the email, but copy and paste what it outputs into a Word doc, or then copy and paste it and put it in an email. We're going to see a different font. And then it's got like this gray thing around it. And it's like shadowed on the back. And so it is a dead giveaway that it was done inside of ChatGPT. So the trick, I want to tell you guys, probably a $10,000 savings right here is cut and paste it into Excel. And then if you copy it out of Excel, you'll still need to, you may need to change the font or some other character inside of it, but it loses all the gray background and the box around it. So it's not obvious. I felt bad a few times, Kellen. I've got a few emails recently from realtors or a board that I'm on. And I just like, I want to tell them, I want to be like, hey, Bob, like, dude, what you're doing is really cool, but anybody who uses this like knows what you did. Right. I can't like figure out a cool way. Like if it was you, I'd just like, you would appreciate it, but I don't want to offend somebody. Yeah. And so that makes that a little challenging. But like all things in our world, I mean, the number one thing is inputs equal outputs. In what you put into this matters so much.
Well, I was playing around with that a little bit, and there's actually a couple of resources around kind of the perfect prompt for ChatGPT. And I'm going to give an example here. This is one that we were talking about in one of our groups, but so a good prompt would be, give me good social media marketing ideas, right? That would be considered a decent prompt, right? That it's going to spit something out. But where would you get more specific and more granular to really get what you want out of that? And that would be something like, and I'll use myself as an example, for a loan officer in Keller, Texas, create a social media marketing strategy for a week to engage the audience with ideas for posts, stories, and videos. That is a better prompt. That's going to give you exactly what you're looking for and the ideas and the thought that is going to be helpful. So use that as you're kind of using these prompts. And there's a lot of resources online. Again, Next Level has some, as well as, this is what Jason Frazier is going to cover when he's at our group. But the input, to your point, Sean, is almost as critical as anything else, right? That's the recipe for what you're going to get out.
Oh man, if you're going to use this successfully, yeah. Otherwise, you're not going to sound like you. Like right. How it writes stuff, you don't sound like anybody. It sounds like ChatGPT. It sounds like the bot that was built inside of the AI. One thing to note in ChatGPT specifically, I think the data that was put into it ends in like November or November-ish of 2021. So it can give you you can't ask it about explicitly current things. You can ask how markets move and how this happens and how this affects this, and it will give you some good information. But the other thing too, it is a computer program, and so it spits out whatever it was programmed or however it was indexed to search information. And I've asked it a fair amount of questions that, it's like maybe 80% right or 70% right. So make sure that you really know your topic too. Otherwise, you're going to look like a fool. You don't want to look like a fool.
Yeah. It's designed to make you more efficient and move you through the process a little faster, but not replace it, right? Like it's not going to post to the social media, right? But it'll give you the ideas for it. So again, this is, it's in addition to, not in replacement of, kind of a thing.
Yeah. I mean, it's like if you submit a crappy file to your underwriter, you're going to get a bad output. If you put stupid things on Facebook and Instagram, you're not going to get the result you want. And so it's all about honing on those inputs and making sure that you ask the right questions, as with kind of everything in life.
Yeah, 100%. And I would say this too, it's always fun to talk about these kind of things, right? Because these things happen, they come up, and they're good content for us to discuss, right? And so whether ChatGPT revolutionizes your mortgage business or not is somewhat irrelevant. But what you can do and how it can put dollars in your pocket is you could spend 30 minutes and learn everything you can, read some articles, learn some prompts, everything you can about ChatGPT, specifically about the real estate industry. And then do what Sean did and use it as content to go educate your realtor partners. Again, become the resource of information for them, whether that resource is market updates, economic conditions, jobs report that's coming out, or whether it's how to make your listing description better using ChatGPT, whether it's guidelines, loan program, whatever it is, right? You just want to be all things resource for your agents. And so when there's something like this that comes into the market, this is a great opportunity. Everybody's going to be talking about it soon. A lot of people are talking about it now, but not everybody. And I guarantee you, probably within a 2-mile radius of my office, there's probably 100 realtors who have no clue what it is. Zero, right? So now I can come in and show them these things, become the expert, look like an amazing person. And all I did was spend 30 minutes, of educating myself. It's kind of like we talk about Frank Abagnale sometimes, Sean, right?
Oh, yeah.
So Frank, if you don't know the movie Catch Me If You Can, but he was a real live person, Frank Abagnale. And so he taught a class. He faked being a college professor for some long period of time. And people asked him years later, how did you fake it? How did you do it? He goes, well, I just read one chapter ahead of the class, right? So that's all we're asking you to do. Just be a couple of steps ahead of the people in your market, and you can take this and look like that celebrity expert.
That is such a good point. I mean, guys, again, this is not rocket science.
Right.
You know, pause this podcast for a second, or just say it along with me right now. This is not rocket science. Like, you know, ChatGPT, like, it's so easy to be a chapter ahead in almost all the things we do. Like, when you talk about finance, you talk about the consumer price index or jobs reports or ISM numbers or the JOLTS number. Like, all you got to do is, like, if you read the excerpt in MBS Live or MBS Highway or put it in Wikipedia and look at it there, like, you're an entire book ahead of everybody else.
That's it.
They know.
100%. That's it. So there you go, guys. Two guys who don't know a lot about ChatGPT talking about it, but we're figuring it out. More importantly, how do we translate this new technology into dollar bills closed in the form of closed loans, right? That's really the goal. That's ultimately the goal. So take what you can from this, go add some additional knowledge to it, and go out there and teach a class. It'll be a ton of fun. Be an expert on it. If you know, there's nothing these agents are going to ask you that you don't know the answer to. Yes. If you need some help,
put it in ChatGPT.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. If you need some help, or you want to get a little more granular on this topic or any other topic, or you need some other assistance in reaching out to realtors, connecting with them, knowing who to talk to, when to talk to them, so on and so forth, hit us up at becomenl.com. It's all we do. All we talk about is how to make loan officers successful. We want to be in your corner with you. So we'd love for you to hang out with us. becomenl.com. And again, we'll be in Dallas-Fort Worth on April 27th. So come join us then as well. Sean, thank you, sir. Awesome conversation. Appreciate you.
Appreciate you, Kellen. It's always good to connect with two best founders next level.
There's no doubt. There's no doubt. I'm going to go hit up ChatGPT and have it tell me why I'm so awesome. Hopefully you can do that. Thanks, everyone. Have a great afternoon. We'll see you.